Today I will be giving you the ultimate guide to Midsummer Scream 2024, how to get everything done, as well as some advice, tips, and tricks that you can take with you if it's your first year at Midsummer Scream this year. What's going on, everyone? My name is Scott and you're watching Exploring Attractions, and if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button down below with those bell notifications on, because you don't want to miss a video like the one that you're watching right now. And with haunt season wrapping up, we are posting tons of different haunt news and haunt related things, so subscribe if you're new here and leave this video a like at the end if you do enjoy it. And while you're at it, check out our spooky podcast run by the Howling Hour and myself, which you can click the playlist down below in the description as well. But yes, everybody, I don't know if I made one of these last year. I kind of tried to keep the annual tradition going, however I probably just had scheduling issues last year. I tried to give a advice or a guide, a complete guide if you will, to Midsummer Scream, and this year it's a big one because there are tons of offerings and I feel like they keep on upgrading every single year. And throughout the years I've noticed different tips and tricks to kind of navigate your experience with the largest Halloween and haunt convention. I do want to say before starting this video, these are just my tips and tricks and what works for me. I know that different stuff works for different people, different ticket types, different stuff like that, so keep in mind everyone is going to have different advice to share with you. This is just what I've noticed has worked for me in the past 5 years going. Now, Midsummer Scream has gotten so large to the point where you almost need to do it all 3 days now, and with that you can buy a weekend pass. You can buy a weekend pass in which runs you for about like $69, I think. I guess I should get out my handy dandy Midsummer Scream app and check the exact ticket prices for y'all. So yeah, a weekend pass at regular price is $69, and this includes a $4 service fee. And then if you want the VIP Gold Bat Pass, then it's $150, which the VIP Gold Bat Pass is definitely worth it in my opinion if you're going to visit all 3 days. Reason being is because you get an exclusive commemorative credential and enamel pin, and you also get 1 hour early entry to the show floor on both Saturday and Sunday. But not only that, you get front of the line access to some of the Hall of Shadows attractions, as well as different panels and presentations throughout the convention runtime. If you're looking for single day passes, Friday, which is only run from 6 to 10, is $38, Saturday is $53, and Sunday being at $43. And then of course you can do different add-ons like a commemorative t-shirt. So those are kind of the ticket prices to break everything down for you. In my opinion, the Gold Bat Pass is worth it if you are going all 3 days. I wouldn't recommend buying the weekend pass if like you're going all 3 days. Buy the VIP Gold Bat Pass because you literally get an hour early aside from everyone else, and then you get front of the line access to essentially everything there, so it's definitely worth it. But if you're running on a budget, then the weekend pass is good too. If you're only wanting to visit 1 day, then yeah, buy a single day admission. But if you're planning to just go 2 days and not go the entire 3 days, well, still the weekend pass is still worth it. So kind of to break down the different ticket options. And then of course, going back to the Gold Bat Pass, if you buy that, you also get a commemorative enamel pin as well. So that's kind of a breakdown of different tickets and passes that you can purchase that are still available. Make sure you get them because they will, I guarantee you, they will sell out at least a week before. Couple of things to prepare yourself when visiting Midsummer Scream 2024. The actual show floor gets very, very hot. I personally think that they should upgrade next year to a larger convention because Long Beach, I feel like they've outgrown Long Beach a little bit. It gets very, very hot in there. So come with, you know, preparations. I don't know if you can bring water in. I think that you can bring in closed water. I'm not too sure, but if you can, make sure to bring water. And if not, then buy water and carry it around with you. You know, if you're going to take a break, make sure if you don't want to spend money inside the convention center that you leave the convention center at a reasonable time and go and get something outside, and obviously drink plenty of water because it is very, very hot on the show floor. Another thing to note about the show floor is there's not very good coverage in there. Now this is all depending on different like providers. Like I noticed Verizon has a little bit stronger connection than what T-Mobile does and AT&T does. So keep in mind, in certain areas of the show floor, there's like little to no coverage. So if you're like banking on a call from someone or trying to text someone, then just keep in mind it's going to be a little bit harder to do that while visiting Midsummer. Another thing to keep in mind about the Long Beach Convention Center in general is you're going to want to get there early if you're going on a Saturday. Now it's highly recommended that you go on Friday, pick up your passes and stuff like that, kind of scout out your areas and kind of plan what to do for the rest of the 2 days, because there's not much going on Sunday. It's only open from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. But if you're getting in on Saturday, keep in mind parking is going to be insane. There is plenty of parking lots to park at, but as far as the lines to get into parking, it's going to be insane. And then once you park in a actual parking lot, then there's a line to actually get inside. So plan to get there early for sure. I would say at least an hour early from the time of opening if you are getting there at opening, because it does get very, very busy, especially if you don't already have your pass and you can't just cruise on in. So that, I feel like we kind of cover the bases as far as like preparation for Midsummer goes. And as far as what time you're going to arrive and stuff like that, you know, come prepared. Obviously, like the number one thing is it's going to be hot on the show floor because of how many people are there, and you're going to have no coverage. So just keep that in mind, because that's one thing that I've learned over the years when I'm trying to post on like Twitter and stuff like that. Now if you go above in the lobby area of the convention center, then you do get coverage. And I do believe that they have Wi-Fi as well, so that'll also help if you're planning to upload stuff, if you're like a content creator planning to upload stuff on the day of in real time. But now let's get to attractions and stuff like that, because a big thing this year is going to be panels and presentation. There's lots of heavy hitters. Now I did mention the Midsummer Scream app a little bit earlier. The Midsummer Scream app is great. It's your guide to all things Midsummer Scream, and what I like about the Midsummer Scream app is the fact that you can actually put together a full list of different things that you want to see. So for example, I already have my list ready to go, so I don't have to go searching through all the different panels and presentations to see what time they're at. I already have a list. I know exactly what times they are, and I know exactly what time to get to the specific ballrooms or different stages that they're being presented at. Now obviously one of the largest, if not the largest presentation, is going to be closing the show on Sunday night, and that's the Halloween Horror Nights panel. That one always gets busy. It's always the busiest. However, there's other heavy hitters this year as well. We have Six Flags' Fright Fest, which obviously they announced Fright Fest Extreme this year. Lots of people are going to have questions about that. Not Scary Farm, the return of Queen Mary's Dark Harbor. There's an Elvira presentation. There's lots of heavy hitters this year for sure. So I would recommend for all the panels, if you have the Gold Bat Pass, and I'd recommend lining up no later than 45 minutes to an hour for those panels. Honestly, I've always lined up about 40-minute mark, and while yes, it is pretty crowded and everything, or waiting in line in the crowds and everything, we do get in and we do get a seat. Because I feel like with these panels and presentations, since they have two big giant screens, it doesn't really matter as far as how close you are to the stage, unless of course you're filming. But regardless, most of the people get a seat unless you are coming in like 5 minutes before, then you're gonna have to stand in the back or sit on the floor. So keep in mind, while yes, be prepared to line up early, don't line up too early, because everybody's going to get a seat unless you want one of the closest seats possible. That's kind of one of the things that I have noticed over the years, is everybody rushes to line up, and regardless, everyone's going to sit in there. Like the ballroom, the grand ballroom in specific, is huge. It's a little bit different with the smaller theaters, but the grand ballroom, which I believe is hosting both the Knott's and the HHN panel, are huge, and everyone finds a seat unless, like I said, you're coming in 5 minutes before the presentation. Halloween Horror Nights, you always have to plan out a little bit different because it is one of the most popular ones there, so you may want to line up even earlier, like an hour and a half earlier, if that really does matter to you. And like I said, when I'm spitting off these different times, like I said, this is just what works best for me, in my opinion, because over the years I have noticed these different trends of people lining up early and then people lining up later on and still getting the same like advantage to seats. But yeah, it's definitely recommended that you plan out different panels and presentations on the Midsummer Scream app, and if you not download the app, plan it out in your notes or something, right? Like, you know, the Elvira presentation is at this time, so we need to make sure that we're up at the theater at this time, or something like that, to where you're not having to scroll through the app and look through all the different presentations and classes trying to scour and find your exact panel that you're looking for. You already have it in a list ready to go. Another thing to be prepared for, of course, is bring money. Most of these different vendors accept credit card and debit card and all stuff like that. However, I feel like cash is just a little bit easier to be like, you know, $20 flat rate, here you go, you know, especially if you're planning to get a tattoo, which I did last year. I'm coming up on my year anniversary of this tattoo. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, I don't know. I'll put a picture up on the screen regardless. But it's just a little skeleton, and like, while yes, they had Venmo and everything, I feel like it would have been a lot easier just to hand them cash. So if you're doing stuff like that, make sure you bring cash. There are plenty of different vendors and plenty of different small businesses that put out amazing products. So come prepared to spend money, because if you're a horror fan like me, you're going to want to spend a lot of money. And trust me, I have spent a lot of money at Midsummer Scream. And there are different attractions on the actual show floor as well. Like, I know Universal Studios is doing like an awesome Universal Monsters like photo opportunity thing this year, which usually they just have a small little booth. It looks like they're doing some large scale booth this year that was just recently announced, so plan out exactly what you want to see as far as the exhibitors go. Also available on the Midsummer Scream app. Also something that you can add to your list as far as your scheduling goes, and like your favorites and stuff like that, so you don't miss out on exactly where those exhibitors are, because they will release the map about 2 weeks before the Midsummer Scream event. Alright, last but not least, we have the Hall of Shadows. The Hall of Shadows, if you guys don't know, it's essentially like a whole different part of the show floor where there's different mini haunted attractions. It's all dark and everything because there's different monsters and creatures lurking in the shadows, or in the fog, I should say. There's about 8 to 10 different haunted houses for each Midsummer Scream year, and some of your favorites are coming back, like Fear Farm, like Santa Ana Haunt, like The Haunt Who Has No Name Yet. But you also have another very big player in Lionsgate. Lionsgate, who has movies like Saw, like different properties like that, is doing a mini haunted house, and they kind of revealed the facade to us, and the facade looks absolutely incredible. This is actually being put on by John Cook, who is very well known in the haunt community for his work at Dark Harbor, for his work at Not Scary Farm. This will hands down probably be the most busiest haunt there in the Hall of Shadows. So if you want to do it, that's a huge priority. Make sure you make a beeline for that haunted house, because it will be busy. And that's another big reason why I recommend the VIP Gold Bat Pass, because you can skip most of the standby line with having that Gold Bat Pass. Typically, I'm able to get like all the different mini haunts done with my media pass that they give us, which is essentially the same as a Gold Bat Pass. However, I do have to take breaks in between, because number one, people will go on lunch breaks for these haunted houses, and number two, sometimes it's just way too busy in there, so I want to take a break on the show floor or in the lobby. That's another thing that you'll notice, is you'll notice that right early in the morning, everyone seems to go to the Hall of Shadows, and it's like super busy right off the bat. Whereas if you wait like an hour or to an hour and a half and you kind of explore the show floor a little bit before actually going to the Hall of Shadows, you actually get a little bit less waits in the different mini haunted house area. But to kind of wrap up this video, come prepared everybody. The Midsummer Scream app, I can't recommend it enough. Like, you can definitely add like all your favorites on there and have it all in one place rather than having to search all over the place for it. So I highly recommend the Midsummer Scream app and watching different previous videos. I'll leave a link down below in the description to our previous video of Midsummer Scream 2023, so you kind of get an idea of exactly how everything's laid out if this is your first year. So let me know down below in the comment sections if you have any other advice / tips and tricks that I missed out in this video. And if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button with those bell notifications on, and leave this video a like at the end if you enjoy it. I will be there both Saturday and Sunday. Rob, my buddy, who is also frequent on this channel, who's also my co-host, also my best friend for Haunt Talk. He will also be there all 3 days, so if you see one of us, make sure you come up and say hi. We really appreciate seeing all of you guys, especially when we're all together at this one thing that we love, which is Midsummer Scream. My name is Scott, and you've been watching Exploring Attractions. Positivity is key, and most importantly, remember to keep exploring. Peace out, everybody.